Whenever we're talking about institutions that we have to keep an eye on next season, the Texas Longhorns need to be somewhere on that list. Whenever we're talking about Texas, we need to realize that there is a lot of pressure on Steve Sarkisian in year two to have an improvement from what the Longhorns had in year one. And recruiting is certainly going to be an integral part of that. And today, we need to talk about an addition that the Texas Longhorns got in Dylan Spencer and why this is such a great win for the Horns. But before we do, as always, y'all know the drill. I want to hear from you. Hop down to the comments, Y for yes, N for no. And given that the Texas Longhorns have two commitments in their class, both on the defensive side of the ball, do you think that the Horns are set to surge on the offensive side of the ball in recruiting? And let me know what you're thinking. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification. I'm on my push to 15,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you for that journey. And if you enjoyed the content, like and comment down below. Those interactions are absolutely massive to us content creators and getting picked up and maintained by the YouTube algorithm. But with all that being said, let's hop right into this, because it's not every day that you get to boast another top 200 player a part of your recruiting class. And so far, Texas has two, both individuals in their class on the defensive side of the ball, both individuals coming and ranking within the top 200 players in the nation. And that's something you love to see, because the Texas Longhorns are one of the biggest brands in the world. They're a brand that carries so much notoriety with them that in sports, you know what you're looking at when you see that burnt orange, and especially when you see that logo. However, that notoriety hasn't translated to on-field results the way that Texas Longhorn fans expect it to in the past few years. And though Steve Sarkisian has only been there 1 year and he didn't inherit a golden egg, the pressure is now going to be really on, especially because of the lackadaisical effort we saw from the Texas Longhorns just last season. But going into this season, we need to understand Steve Sarkisian sitting in an entirely different position. He's gotten a full year to get in a recruiting class that featured high-level transfers plus a great haul on the offensive line side, a position group that Texas desperately needed. But in the class of 2023, it's going to be interesting to see where Texas focuses. Linebackers got to be near the top of that priority list. However, when getting in Dylan Spencer, this is a massive win, and another win for Bo Davis to notch on his belt, something that's not surprising at all. Whenever we're talking about defensive line recruiters, Bo Davis is a name to know. He's had success at multiple different stops across college football. He's had success in the NFL, and whenever you have an individual that has been so successful at every level of football, whenever that person says to a recruit, I know how to get you to the next level, I've done it with various other individuals, I've coached guys at the next level, and I know what it takes, that's an offer that's hard to refuse, and especially in Dylan Spencer's case, when you're a Texas kid. Because the Texas Longhorns have done a really good job of trying to get the talent that they need out of their state. Remember, I always say you're not going to be able to lock down your state. It's just not feasible anymore. Recruiting is far too national, but that doesn't mean you get to lose players that you need out of your state. You're going to lose some battles, but it's about winning the battles that you need. And this was a battle that Texas needed. Because when I put on the film for Dylan Spencer, a few things stand out to me instantly. First and foremost, he's 6'4", 240 pounds, and carries that really well. He's got the frame to add on some really positive weight and carry it well once he gets to college. And whenever you're looking at a defensive lineman / edge guy that Dylan Spencer is, that trait isn't something to think lightly of. The fact that he can bulk up and still maintain that athleticism, which is something I absolutely believe he can do. The other thing that I really liked when watching Spencer's tape is his patience. You see so many guys that are top-rated defensive linemen, top-rated edge guys, that their mindset is solely attack. And when you're that good, you really can't blame them. They're so used to winning every rep that their mindset is see ball, get ball. And that's cool. It makes for an awesome highlight tape, and it shows us that you do have that explosiveness. But the patience is something that we cannot overlook, and that's something Dylan Spencer has. And what do I mean when I say patience? Spencer's an individual that he's going to engage the block and then peer into the backfield, seeing where he needs to go, seeing what gap he needs to fill. That type of patience allows for him to make a lot of plays because he's not over pursuing. He's allowing the play to develop and then making sure it doesn't get to develop in the manner that it wanted to. That's something that is very much well necessary at the next level. That's something that a lot of guys have to learn, and it's a trait he already possesses. So that's another thing you love to get in with Dylan Spencer. And the last thing we can talk about is his motor. He's someone who you see multiple times on his film catching guys from behind, getting the play from behind. That's something you love out of an edge/defensive line guy. At the end of the day, you love getting this kid in if you're the Texas Longhorns. The Longhorns are in a position where they're looking for guys to fit the defensive scheme they need. And as much as we've talked about the Texas offense and how that needs to improve, we haven't given the due diligence to the defense, and that is on me. But Texas's defense is another area of that team that absolutely has to get better. And individuals such as Dylan Spencer can lay the foundation to help you getting better. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go from here. You already know that the linebacker position is going to be at the highest priority in this recruiting class for Texas, and for good reason. But at the end of the day, if a kid like Dylan Spencer wants to commit, that's a top 200 player in the nation, that's a kid out of your state, and has the talent he does with the frame to be able to add on more weight and maintain athleticism, and the cherry on top that already possesses the patience that's going to be necessary at the next level, you never argue with that commitment. This is something that's going to be really good for Texas's class. This could be something to help propel them as they start to have major visitation weekends. I'm just excited to see where they go from here, but this is a really solid addition, one that I'm very excited to see what he does his senior year and once he gets on campus. But I'm really interested in hearing from y'all. Hop down to the comments, let me know what you think about this addition. That's it. See ya.